Welcome into the Rowdy Studio. I am Buzz Cutler. Bassmasters is on the end. We're flanking probably the best spotter in the business, Tab Boyd, spotter for the number 42, driven by Juan Pablo Montoya.
You got to have a great vision to be a spotter, Tab?
At least good contacts.
All right, have you recovered from Talladega? Because I'm sure it was a pretty stressful operation.
Man, we're just now getting rested up and getting ready for Martinsville, but that's an undertaking whenever you have a race at Talladega.
Well, tell me how this sort of tandem drafting has evolved from your perspective, because it's been about a year now when it was sort of first put into being, and then you went to Daytona, to Talladega, Daytona again, now back at Talladega. So what's the evolution for a spotter been over the past year?
It's been a big difference. Even though you're doing the same thing, you have to really be more aware of what's going on, even a half a track behind you or the straightaway behind you, and a little less of what's going on in front of you. You know, whenever you get in a wreck at Daytona or Talladega, a lot of it's luck. I mean,
right. There's really not much.
It's whether you're at the right place at the right time, because you can't get it out of your mouth that they're wrecking, and you're always so tightly packed, you can't go high or low because they're usually three wide.
Right. So by the time they're wrecking, it's too late. You got to know before to do things to prevent.
Yeah, you can let them know to check up, and that's about it.
Well, plus you got guys, pulling out to switch up, running into your traffic while you're still hooked up with your partner, coming up on them. You're depending on where your driver is, they can only see behind them or can only see in front of them. I mean, it's just this whole new rule package for you.
Yeah, the biggest evolution is that the drivers now can talk to each other more so than ever before. Usually teammates would have a radio in each other's car and be able to turn and talk to each other, but now we have 16-channel radios, and some of them have two 16-channel radios with every different kind of car on the dial. So if we're drafting with Kyle Busch, they could turn over and talk right to him, say, "Hey, you want to run?" And he might say, "No, we have a partner." And it goes like that. I mean, there's a lot of communication. First, the spotters go to each other and say, "Hey, what do you think about running together?" And then the drivers will get together on the radio and talk about what they're doing. But usually now both the cars that are touching are on the same channel, and the guy that's driving the front car is the one spotting where he's going.
Right.
So he's telling the guy behind, he's staring at a spoiler, so it's just like staring at a brick wall. You don't know where you're going, so he says, "All right, we're going to go to the middle, and then we're going to go to the top. Got a couple slow ones here. Oh, these guys are separated, so let's go down a groove and pass them." And there's a lot going on. And then us up there on the spotter stand, we try to get a couple words in every now and then, say, "Hey, you got a couple of them with some momentum getting it on. You better give them some room." And
now, are both spotters still engaged, or does one just sort of go away?
There's one spotter that spots on the main channel. The other spotter is just as busy. He might not be talking, but he's watching what's going on even further back. The main spotter is kind of like in the core part of what's going on around the car.
So you can actually split up duties the way the drivers have split up duties.
The spotter of the other car is just as busy because he's looking at what's going on that half a straightaway back. Because
and you're standing next to, so you guys
shoulder
can
to shoulder.
About, hey, there's something coming back here, and then he can tell the guys.
Exactly. They're all he might not talk to you because all that's going on, but he'll say, hey, look right here, because something can be developing on the back straightaway out of two. Some guys can have momentum. Well, they might not be there, but you have to be prepared, because when they come around to turn 4, it's going to be happening there. So you try to figure out how fast they're going to be coming and where they're going to meet, because a lot of times they're 3 and 4 wide, and if there's nowhere to go,
then you got a problem.
Some guys will make a place to go, and then it's chaos.
Well, before the race, is there more planning before the race about who you're going to run with and kind of commitments? Because obviously after the race, we spent a lot of time talking about Trevor Bayne and Ford and team orders and all that.
Well, and Richard Childress said he wasn't going to help a Ford or a Dodge. I mean,
so how does all that go for you before the race? What's your perspective?
Well, of course, we're a Chevy team, so we try to run with Chevys if we can. We made a plan that we were going to run with our teammate,
right? Which makes sense, 2 cars.
Yep, and it worked really well. But then you run into the part of whenever you have damage, And then that was where the communication, you want to find a car that's undamaged to run with, but then they've made a commitment to somebody, and then you made a commitment to your guy, and you want to make sure that they're going to be with you.
Sounds like high school.
There's a lot going on, but you do have more of a plan now. We've run a few of these races where the tandems are much faster than ever before, and so you do have a plan of going in, and this is what's going to happen, but a lot of it is in a perfect world, and it don't always make it all the way then. So you have to adjust, yes.
We've heard a lot of drivers go back and forth about whether they prefer this or old style of big pack drafting. You know, Jeff Burton says he likes the 2-car draft. Dale Earnhardt Jr. hates it. As a spotter, do you have a preference?
You know, I like the 2-car tandem because it's new and it's different and it's fun. The big packs, like we say, the luck of getting through the wrecks, that was big time luck because there might be a 30-car pileup, but now
it's a little more spread out.
It is a little more spread out, and it's more of a strategy. You can kind of, they flow through there and they're together, and where before people were just slicing and dicing one car at a time, and the stress of having somebody to run with, or I wouldn't say stress, but the need to have somebody to run with, you're dependent on somebody. If you become separated or don't have a partner, you go to the back like the engine shut off.
Right.
And so that's the hardest thing is staying hooked up.
Right, especially like you say, if someone gets damaged or I mean, we saw Matt Kenseth. I mean, give us your take on that situation. Trevor Bayne on the radio makes a commitment to Jeff Gordon. Then Matt Kenseth, a teammate essentially, loses his partner and starts to drift back. Trevor goes with him. Is that okay? I mean, you've made a commitment, but there's this bigger commitment to your manufacturer, to your teammate.
If you are drafting with somebody that still has a teammate in a race, and that teammate comes in trouble, you've got to expect that they're going to leave you in a heartbeat. So that's why even though we got into an accident, both of our cars, the 1 car and the 42, had damage. So that we thought that it would be better, even with damage, to stay hooked up and run. And we ran 3rd and 4th for a while with tore up cars. So we thought that it was better with damaged cars to make sure we had a commitment rather than go with another car that could be faster.
Right.
You might be faster. You might go lead 10 laps and be up at the front. But if you get the white flag and his buddy is hung out or one of his teammates, you're gone. You're going to the rear, and you can go to dead last in a lap if you don't have somebody.
You don't really need to wreck to have a bad finish. That's the thing about it.
It's always better to go with the sure thing rather than take a risk. But, I mean, whatever it takes, everybody on the track is trying to get to the front first, so just had to really take that in consideration.
Now, before we let you go, I want to switch gears for a minute because you are a racer in your own right, and you're going to be taking on Kurt Busch up at the Rock around Thanksgiving time, right?
Around Thanksgiving, the Saturday of Thanksgiving.
You going to move him out of the way if he's in your way?
Well, we'll have to see. I don't know. I don't want to have any retaliation.
But doesn't he have to wait like a whole year?
This is at Rockingham Speedway, the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
What's the name of the race?
It's called the Polar Bear 150.
All right.
Street stock race. Frank Kimmel Street Stock Series.
All right.
Very cool.
So, Rowdy Nation, I want you to turn out at the Rock Saturday after Thanksgiving. Don't be worrying about Kurt Busch. You're cheering on Tab Boyd to victory at Rockingham Speedway. Thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was fun. Thank you.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.